What is up, Flick fans? Welcome.
Ooh, look at me, I'm a ghost. Ooh, Ghostbusters. Ooh,
All right.
look at
Haha,
me.
you're a ghost.
Oh, floating above your head.
Okay.
I'm a ghost. Actually, I'm a lawyer, and you've been served. I was hired by your wife. She states that she'd like to keep the dog, the house, all of your money, your belongings, and most importantly, your Funko Pops. You have no say in the matter.
What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking Ghostbusters Afterlife, the resurrection of this franchise. Is this the revitalization that it deserves? Does it pack a nostalgic punch? Let's get into it. When a single mom and her two kids arrive in a small town, they begin to discover their connection to the original Ghostbusters and the secret legacy their grandfather left behind. And this family's cast includes Carrie Coon as the mother, McKenna Grace and Finn Wolfhard as brother and sister, encountering new friends in Celeste O'Connor, who plays Lucky, and Logan Kim, who plays Podcast. I don't even know if we ever get his real name, but he has a podcast, so his name is Podcast. And the kids are the star of the show. McKenna Grace is fantastic in this movie. Oh my God, her role as Phoebe, you know exactly who she is after 5 minutes of screen time, and I think that's just brilliant. Both the writing for her character, very straightforward, very emotionless. She says it multiple times to Podcast, even forming that relationship, right? Her mother tells her, you need friends, and she's like, I don't need friends, but okay, I'll try, right? The first friend she attempts to make is her teacher, Mr. Gruberson, played by Paul Rudd, who is everything you want Paul Rudd to be in this movie. I mean, he's playing Paul Rudd, but we like Paul Rudd. I love Paul Rudd, so I'm completely okay with that. And thus the relationships start. They're moving back to this town because their grandfather left them this old dirt farm. They call him the dirt farmer. He didn't really make any relationships with anyone in that town, so everybody kind of thought he was a loony guy. But the question being asked, at least by Phoebe, because she's the only one that springs that curiosity, is, was there more to what grandfather left behind? And thus we begin to uncover the very nostalgic Ghostbustery Easter eggs and references, and a movie chocked and packed and stuffed full of nostalgic goodness. Now, we've seen films like this. I think the ultimate comparison one everyone's going to make is The Force Awakens, bringing back Star Wars after so many years. And Ghostbusters is the same. I mean, we've not seen a Ghostbusters movie in 20, 30 years, right? How long was it ago? Wasn't 2016, tell you that much. And I've actually seen a lot of complaints, at least on the Twitter sphere that I'm a part of, that this film is just too much with its nostalgia. It is so here, Easter egg, boom, in your face, there's that thing, and here's this scene, and here's this moment, and here's this soundbite, and we continue to get all of those things, and that basically is what the plot and premise is. It is Phoebe's character, kind of Trevor. He learns how to drive a very specific vehicle that we see in the trailers, but Phoebe is kind of uncovering all of these things, and we'll get these prolonged 3 to 4, even 6 to 7 minute scenes where she's learning what this specific thing is, or how she's going to operate this machine that was once used by the Ghostbusters. So because we get all of those nostalgic throwbacks, it decreases time to actually spend with our characters outside of Grandpa's house, or really outside of that family setting. We get one scene of McKenna Grace in summer school, and 1 or 2 scenes with Finn Wolfhard kind of applying for a job and working his job. We never get a lot more interactions with other kids, except for, of course, Lucky and Podcast. I mean, at one point, all 4 are sitting at a table discussing all of these things about ghosts, and some other kids are kind of paying attention and gathered around, but they never have any input. They're never really part of this. And my one big criticism, before I get into all of the really good or great things about this film, my one big criticism is these kids, they handle all of this madness, and I understand, right? They say that they're not as familiar, but Finn Wolfhard's character, he's a little bit older. Ghosts technically exist in this universe, and they are aware, even though a lot of people see it as a conspiracy theory. But even when Trevor and his friends, go up to this mountain and see this really supernatural thing happen, you've got like 8 to 10 kids there, they see it and they're all just like, oh man, wow, demon spirits. Cool, guys. Let's go. I was sitting here like, oh man, that's not going to scare you more. Like, you're not terrified right now. Phoebe gives a good excuse. She says something like, when I'm overly stimulated, it puts me in a calm state. Like, she mentions that multiple times. So when she sees something, because she says at the beginning, I don't even believe in ghosts, I thought maybe she would react a bit more, but that's just what her character is. Okay, I can look past all of these things if you deliver a story that is at least fun, entertaining, familiar, right? We're bringing back things that really came to play in Ghostbusters 1 and 2, so they're definitely not forgetting about the past. Trust me, lots of Easter eggs in this movie. But when we start to go on these ghost hunting adventures, when we're using all of these things for the first time, and just the idea of kids, right, getting to do this, and kids in the audience, seeing all of this play out on screen, hearing a ghost, seeing a ghost, whether it be a really cute miniature one that Paul Rudd is running from. I loved Paul Rudd's role in this movie. It was so funny. Or a giant demonic creature that is partially CGI, and there's a lot of CGI in this film, don't get me wrong, but they also brought in practical effects in moments, and I'm like, good on you, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and good on you, director Jason Reitman, of course, keeping it in the family and bringing in all of those things his father Ivan did so well and capturing this feeling that I haven't had in quite a while. I mean, very reminiscent to what I had with The Force Awakens, but this movie, as it was going, I'm like, this is such a simple premise, but I'm feeling this level of joy and discovery and a coming-of-age tale in a way where characters are learning about each other. It kind of feels like a classic 80s Steven Spielberg movie. Like, I was getting E.T. vibes with this journey. Of course, Ghostbusters, right? But just the combination of so many things. The music, that classic cinematography, the way they will use those music cues or even just those sound effects when something magical will happen on screen, when they see a ghost for the first time, when they're going ghost hunting for the first time, and all of these really cool, fantastical, mystical things that don't feel like the current modern-day blockbusters. One thing I didn't expect to get from those things was that level of heart that comes in the third act. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to go any further just because I don't want to ruin anything for you guys, but there is a collection of scenes where they're doing something, honoring something that fans love, not only about this series, but about this cast, that I found to be so beautiful. And if you're younger and you don't really know kind of what that's all about, I encourage you to do a little bit of just basic research, right? But when they do that, along with that collection of scenes that's going to hit that fan base that loved the original movies, see, the entire film is for a new generation of Ghostbusters fans, right? Kids who have never seen the original movies. They're going to watch this and love this and become Ghostbusters fans and want to go back and watch the originals. That's who this movie is made for. It's made for kids, okay, but it's not a kids movie, right? It is also made for families. Plenty of adult humor in there, plenty of things that will make Ghostbusters fans jump out of their seats. Now, if you're a bit older and you were never a fan of Ghostbusters in the first place, I don't know if you're going to love this film because it's so jam-packed full of Easter eggs, but you may buy into the heart and you may buy into the emotion and just be along for the journey, the fun, at times silly, semi-ridiculous, couple of plot points set up that they just zoom right by, don't really pay attention to. I could criticize the writing in parts, and as a matter of fact, I will do that to a degree, just because there were so many things set up that they never really dive into, unfortunately. But what they did choose to focus on had so much heart and emotion behind it. I wasn't really criticizing or nitpicking as much as I was laughing and enjoying this great experience. So before I give you guys my score, I want to say thank you so much for watching. If you want to subscribe to this channel or support this video, be sure to drop your thumbs up down below or subscribe, like I just said. My question for you guys is, have you ever seen a ghost? Ghostbusters Afterlife delivers exactly what fans are looking for. Not only is it dripping with nostalgia, but it hits some surprising emotional beats in the third act that will leave many in tears. It also captures this 80s adventure blockbuster feeling that I've missed big time. I'm going to 78% with my score, what I believe to be a really good revitalization of a franchise that I think is going to have a broader appeal if people choose to go see it. I hope this movie does well at the box office. It's just a fun adventure, and I can't wait to talk about it more this weekend on the podcast, Pop Xcast. Oh man, what a great discussion that's going to be. Talking spoilers, and of course, coming back to you guys a little bit later today as we talk King Richard, Will Smith's Oscar-worthy performance? What? Let me know down below what your thoughts are on Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I'll be seeing you very soon.